When the Vapor 10 was replaced by the Vapor Pro and the NXT, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit lost. I didn't like those shoes nearly as much as the 10 and never really had a go-to option for the last couple years. A few months back, we made the very wise decision to bring in K-Swiss shoes, and with them came the Ultrashot 3. As soon as I picked it up and looked at it, I had a good feeling, but I didn't realize just how good it was going to be. I'll say this right now, and it's a spoiler, but this is my current favorite shoe. The main thing I liked so much about the Vapor X was its comfort, and to me that's the most important thing about a shoe. It's a good thing then that comfort is the most redeeming characteristic of the Ultrashot 3. K-Swiss has gone for the classic wide in the toe box, narrow in the heel fit here, which is pretty much universally appreciated for fitting the widest variety of foot types. I've personally always gravitated towards shoes that are cut like this. With the narrower heel and midfoot, you get exceptional lockdown, and then the wider toe box makes it so that your toes can actually splay and get great feel for the court and really good balance. Also, the fit is true to size. If it feels a touch snug when you first try it on, know that the upper will just naturally give a little bit after very minimal break-in. There is something very special about the fit here, beyond the fact that it's just a cut that I really like. The foot gets cinched into the shoe like a cocoon because the lacing system is so exceptional. A good lacing system is what made the Vapor X so good, and it's even better on the Ultrashot 3. As you can see here, the laces actually run through this sort of ribbon material that makes its way all the way down to the midsole of the shoe, and what that gives you is the utmost range of customization as to just how tight the upper compresses down on your foot. Personally, I prefer a very snug fit, so I cinched them down pretty hard, and when I did, my foot felt wrapped in every direction here. Snug doesn't equal tight though. The upper is so flexible and adaptive that it fills in every gap along the lacing system without causing any awkward pressure point or creases when it flexes. The heel is also great. It's cut a little bit higher, kind of like a basketball shoe, and the padding is just firm enough to lock your foot into place perfectly without being too harsh at all. The only small, tiny, minuscule issue I had with this comfort is that the shoe is slightly above average for warmth. Now, I've been using it in the winter, so I didn't really have a problem with this, but the weave they've gone for is definitely a little bit tighter and less breathable than your average shoe. I've obviously touched on this a little bit with the lacing system that I mentioned earlier, but I'm going to double down on it here. I love good lacing systems. Nowadays, we see so much fancy tech go into improving a shoe's lockdown, but the simplest thing to do is just adding an effective lacing system. It's the only part of the shoe that gives each individual the chance to customize their unique level of lockdown, and once again, it's absolutely elite on the Ultrashot 3. The laces themselves, though, shockingly bad. I swear this is something I would see on a $20 pair of sneakers from Payless Shoes in 2006, and definitely not something that I would see on a $220 tennis shoe. But if that's the worst we got on the Ultrashot, then I am all for it. Also, because the heel is cut a little bit higher, there's just more material to lock in the ankle. My favorite tennis shoes always have these almost basketball style cuts to them. If you take a look at the Vapor X, I think it's a little bit more obvious just how high it comes here, but yeah, it's just stylish shoe. So the Ultrashot has a super soft and comfortable upper, no pressure points along any of the flex points on the shoe, and yet it excels at stability. Go figure. Now, it doesn't feel like your classic brick style stability shoe like a Barricade, for example. There's definitely a little bit more give to the upper and the midsole here, but because you're so locked in, the response is instant and so one-to-one. It almost feels like the whole upper is sewn onto your foot, so your foot and the shoe react in perfect unison, which makes it feel stable. Honestly, I don't mind the extra little bit of give that the midsole and outsole have compared to some harder options out there. To me, it just makes it flex a little bit more cohesively with the relatively soft upper. I don't like when there's too stark a difference between the two. Also, as you can see, especially on the lateral side, the sole's rubber material protrudes a little bit past where the upper is fused onto it, which just gives you a slightly wider and more stable platform. Movement is always a funny one because it's kind of a personal case-to-case thing, but it's also what cemented the Ultrashot as the perfect shoe for me. I honestly think this is the perfect shoe for modern movement. The midsole is fairly thin and low to the ground, and even though it has a decent amount of flexibility to it, there is still great energy return and an ultra reactive response. You have fantastic feel for the court, which is so important to give you that sensation of being able to do whichever movement you want, whenever you want. The heel to toe drop is a little bit more on the traditional side. Again, something I love. It keeps you on your toes a little bit more than some flatter shoes nowadays, which is a sensation that I really like because it keeps you in the ready position at all times, basically. My absolute favorite part about moving in the Ultrashot though, just how well it slides. The grip to slip ratio here is optimal. I felt like I could slide for however long I wanted, whenever I wanted, without ever feeling like I was slipping or losing my footing around the court. Slide too much in a not so durable shoe and you'll bust through it in a couple hours. Hey, that sounds just like the Vapor X. Well, not the Ultrashot. There isn't a ton of rubber, but K-Swiss has been super tactical about where they've actually put it, and they seem to have dialed it into the most important high wear zones, just like the forefoot medial part of the shoe. Oh look, the rubber's got a name. It's called Dura... Oh, well, this is awkward. I've actually worn through the name. Trust me though, it is durable. Oh, it looks like it's called Dura Wrap. Very good job, Dura Wrap. Whoa, you try saying that 10 times. Dura Wrap, Dura Wrap, Dura Wrap, Dura Wrap, Dura... I'm so stupid. Anyways, you won't be tearing through the upper anytime soon, and the outsole shows pretty much no signs of wear after 6 hours. Impressive stuff. You can probably tell, but I can't really believe just how good the Ultrashot is, and it kind of comes out of nowhere for me. We haven't carried K-Swiss shoes during my time at Rackets and Runners, at least not until very recently, but from the few that I've tested, I am blown away by their performance. These shoes deserve every bit of love they've been getting recently. It's kind of a chameleon of a shoe. I mean, it's incredibly personalizable, and its movement characteristics make it something that could work for pretty much anyone, be it a high-level junior or just a casual club player. Come try on a pair of Ultrashots now in store or check them out at racketsandrunners.ca.